Hi guys, my name is Tommie Cross Holmes. I am from Houston, Texas. I am a model and actor out here in Los Angeles, California. As far as my acting goes, I've just done a bunch of TV commercials, Target, Taco Bell, AT&T, all that jazz, so peep me out. I'm out here today making this Can I Be Vulnerable video because I'm a firm believer in feeling. I feel that the way the world today is, it puts a veil over everyone's eyes and it makes us hide our feelings when we really need to talk to someone about it. And when we need to cry and sometimes be angry in the right way. And I hope that my story can help you guys be vulnerable.
Been to therapy?
I have.
What led you there? What led you to therapy?
I was in therapy when I was younger because my dad and my mom were never really together. They were married, but they weren't really together. So I spent time between my mom and my dad, and all of my sisters were. My cousins had watched taking care of all my sisters, and they had their chances, and my sisters kind of like messed up and didn't make the right choice at the time because we didn't really have guidance as kids because we all lived with our grandmother in a small town called Franklin, Texas, outside of Hernan, Fremont. I don't know if y'all know where that's at. Not many people do. Population of less than 1,000. We all lived in a 2-bedroom house, about 5, 6 of us, with my grandmother. And when my grandmother passed away, like my whole family kind of just went. They just dispersed. I think that was like a rock, And when she went away, everyone just went did their own thing. When my dad had gone to prison when I was about 7 years old. I still remember the vivid detail to this day of how it happened. Like we were mowing the lawn on a regular weekend, and there was this one cop car in town that was a Pontiac GT, and it was this Kelly green, this blue sparkle. No, this green sparkle. It was awesome, and I loved it as a kid. I thought that was the dopest car ever. When it was pulling up in the driveway, my dad was like, hey, rake up these leaves. And so I was raking up the leaves, but I really wanted to go see the car because that was the car that I adored in the town. And I didn't have a lot growing up as kids. I had very little toys, very little books. Didn't know what Christmas was. I knew where all my presents were because they were hidden behind a couch in the corner. And so this car comes up, and I'm breaking up leaves, trying to be nosy, like, I want to go see the car. And then I could always tell something was wrong with my dad because he shows a lot of expression in his face, and I was like, no, it's not how he left the conversation.
Right.
So he comes back, he's like, hey, I need you to go inside and pack some toys or whatever I had. And I was like, why? He's like, well, you're going to go away for a while. Or he's like, I'm going to go away for a while. And I was like, okay. And as the cop drove off, I was kind of bummed because I didn't get to, see the car. And so I hear my dad on the phone, like calling people and trying to figure out where I can stay. Because I literally had like 30 minutes to an hour. Like the officer was kind enough to allow him to figure out a place for me to go because I didn't have any family to take me in at the time. I could have gone to stay with an uncle who lived down the street. But, as a kid, it was like, do I want to stay with my uncle in this small town or with my cousins who had my youngest sister? She's 3 years older than me, Ashley. So that was my choice. And so my dad had called them, and they couldn't come pick me up because they were in Houston, which was a few hours away. Or actually, it was an hour and a half. And so they couldn't come pick me up. And by the grace of God, one of my cousins was in Franklin visiting another one of my cousins, and she was like, I'll take him to Michelle and Sam's house. And so, yeah, once I got to live with them, it was my first time ever having my own bedroom, my first time ever having my own video game system, food, like proper food. I used to live off of like ramen noodles and Bluebell ice cream.
Yeah.
Having clothes, and I took in the car on the ride there, I had like my favorite red fire truck. No, 18-wheeler. And like $2. And my favorite pair of Spider-Man underwear. Right?
The webs on the back.
The webs on the back.
Yeah,
I'm telling
I
you.
had those.
And so as a kid, it was hard because, we would go visit my dad in prison and having to leave him all the time, trying to figure myself out with my cousins because they hadn't really raised a kid.
Right.
Fully. They hadn't had a child of their own. So we went to therapy and, we had some problems in my family, with my sister, and so they thought that it would trickle down to me. And so just to be safe, I went to a therapist once a week and talked to her about it. But yeah, I have been to therapy. I find myself constantly going back and forth about it. I try and get in my head, and because my dad was he was a really big alcoholic, and then my mom she did the drugs. So I found both sides of it, and so to this day I try and get inside my dad's head. I'm like, you know what? Maybe he did the best he could with what he had, and maybe him going to the alcohol and falling asleep on the side of the road, and we find him outside, and coming home angry. Maybe that was his way to get it out. Maybe he was just a tough love kind of guy, and I didn't understand that. With my mom, maybe she had a lot going on with my dad. Maybe she didn't have us at the opportune times, and the drugs and stuff like that was her outlet. So I find myself constantly thinking about it on a daily basis. It's a blessing and a curse,
Yeah.
I talked to my mom the other day. Actually, she actually almost passed away a few years ago when I was in New York, and I was just started modeling out there. And I, go to New York straight out of college. I don't really have that much bread, so I woke up one morning and my phone was going crazy. And my sisters never really call me in the morning because they know I get angry and I don't like to talk on the phone. So I was like, something's up.
I'm not a morning person. No problem.
And they're like, yo, answer your phone because my mom's in the hospital. She can't breathe. And she's on life support. And I was like, there's no way I can get out there to see my mom. And they're like, if she could go any day. And so I still had to go to work, working in Hollister. So I had to go show a happy old face.
Right.
But in the back of my mind, I was like, wow. My mom could pass away and I could not see her. And same with my dad. My dad has had a bunch of health problems. And I don't think that I'm angry towards my dad. But every time I would call him, he'd be drunk and he'd be angry and cursing. And I don't really want that in my life.
Right.
I guess I don't want to be selfish, but... And I haven't talked to my dad in about a year and a half.
Right.
And every time I call my sister, so they call me. I asked my mom the other day, and I was like, "Hey, I've spoken to Dad. How's he doing?" She told me he's out for the alcohol and he's trying to stop smoke so much. And I was like, "That's pretty awesome,
Right.
Good for him." And I think this is what healing has done to me. Actually, I think I was resentful to him for a certain period of my life because it's like that. We're kids. I'm your only son. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How? Why? I just couldn't understand it. And we'd have family reunions and I would hang out with him and stuff like that, but I could never bring myself to ask him.
Right.
Because it was such a tough subject, I was enjoying the times we were having, we were
like
laughing,
dad's here was having a good time.
barbecue and all that, and stuff. So it's and I think healing allowed me to get rid of the anger. And it allowed me to understand. And I'm grateful for that because I'm not resentful towards him because that's not fair to him. If you're missing someone, reach out to them. If you love someone, tell them you love them. And if you have a problem with someone, just say, hey, this is making me uncomfortable. I want to fix this between us, and just let them know. Go be vulnerable.